Welcome to Psyche Talks. Today, wow, you've sent us down a truly fascinating rabbit hole.
Haven't we just?
We're diving deep into the incredible variety of ways humanity has pictured our own planet throughout history.
Hmm.
We've got a stack of your sources exploring everything from, flat Earth beliefs to cosmic eggs and geometrically perfect solids.
Yeah, covers quite a range.
So our mission, to pull out the most compelling and surprising insights and really understand what these different visions tell us about, well, the human mind.
Yeah.
Forget the standard blue marble for a moment. We're about to see the Earth through some very different eyes.
It really makes you think, doesn't it? I mean, long before we had satellites and space travel,
Right.
people were grappling with these huge questions about our place in the universe. And the shape of the Earth was, well, central to that.
Absolutely.
What's striking is the ingenuity,
Yeah.
the sheer imaginative power in these early attempts to understand our world.
Okay, so let's start at the beginning then. Some of our earliest sources talk about the ancient concept of 5 fundamental elements.
Right. Water, air, fire, earth.
And that fifth one, ether, space.
Exactly, ether or space. And the key thing is, these weren't just philosophical ideas. They were believed to be the actual building blocks of everything,
Right.
including our planet.
The actual stuff, not just symbols.
Well, both. Really, they were the stuff, but they were also linked to very specific symbolic shapes, which is fascinating.
Okay, tell me more about the shapes.
Well, think about it. The cube solid, stable, that naturally represented Earth.
Okay, I can see that.
The sphere, sort of fluid and encompassing, symbolized water.
Makes sense.
The dynamic, upward-pointing pyramid or triangle that was fire.
Ah, like a flame.
Exactly. The crescent shape evoked the airy expanse of the sky, so air.
Right.
And this sort of accumulated sphere, or maybe a pyre form, suggested the more ethereal realm of space or ether.
And it gets even more concrete, right? Our sources point out that these shape associations weren't just in people's heads.
No, not at all. The superimposition of these 5 forms in a specific order actually creates the stupa in China and India,
Wow.
and the Sotoba Gorin in Japan.
So they physically built these ideas.
They did, into sacred architecture. It shows just how central these concepts were to their understanding of the cosmos. It wasn't just abstract.
That really highlights how deeply these elemental and geometric ideas were woven into ancient worldviews.
Definitely. And if we look at the early philosophers, even someone like Plato or Aristotle, they had their own distinct ways of ordering these elements.
Different orders.
Yeah, reflecting different priorities, different ways of seeing the universe. Plato, for instance, he prioritized fire, saw it as the most fundamental,
Interesting.
while Aristotle put ether, the substance of the heavens, at the top of his list. It tells you a lot about their different perspectives.
I make you wonder about those initial connections, though. Why a cube for Earth? Was it just that feeling of stability, something you could build on?
Probably something like that, yeah. And then you see this recurring theme,
Which is?
that fundamental geometric figures somehow inherently relate to the figure of Earth or the whole universe. It's like humanity has always been searching for some kind of underlying cosmic geometry.
Which leads us neatly into the 5 regular solids, right?
Precisely, the Platonic solids. Tetrahedron, octahedron, icosahedron, cube, and dodecahedron.
And what's special about those?
They're unique because all their faces are identical, regular polygons. And the same number of faces meet at each corner. They have this sort of mathematical perfection.
Ah, right. Very elegant.
So it's perhaps not surprising that ancient thinkers tried to link these elegant shapes to Earth and the elements.
And then Kepler comes along, the brilliant astronomer. He took this fascination with geometric perfection to an astonishing level.
Didn't he he actually tried to explain the distances between the planets using these 5 regular solids.
Seriously, the distances. How?
Well, he envisioned them nested one inside the other like Russian dolls in a specific sequence. And he believed this geometric arrangement dictated the spacing of the planet's orbits.
Wow, that's a real leap of imaginative thinking.
It is. And it speaks to that deep-seated belief in cosmic harmony. He even assigned specific solids to the elements.
Oh, he did that too?
Yep. Tetrahedron for fire. The octahedron maybe representing the airiness of flying birds.
Okay.
The icosahedron for the fluidity of water. The cube, naturally, for solid Earth. And the dodecahedron for the celestial sphere or ether.
So for Kepler, the universe's structure, its geometry, held the key not just to planets, but to the elements themselves.
Exactly. It's this beautiful unified theory connecting math, astronomy, philosophy, even if it turned out not to be accurate.
A beautiful attempt, though.
Absolutely. And the exploration of Earth's geometrical forms didn't stop there. Our sources mention other shapes too.
Like what?
Various pyramidal shapes, three-sided, four-sided, even a cone attributed to Earth at different times.
A cone-shaped Earth.
Apparently.
Hmm.
And there was this other intriguing idea of Earth as a cylinder filled with compressed air, just sort of balanced in the center of the cosmos.
A compressed air cylinder. That sounds peculiar.
It does now. But you can almost imagine people observing the atmosphere, maybe wind or pressure, and trying to fit that into their model.
Right, trying to make sense of it.
Then there's the concept of the ridge form, likened to the roof of a house.
A roof. Why a roof?
The reasoning is surprisingly practical. Stability, a wide base, and a sloping surface, which they thought was ideal for walking on, and crucially, for water to flow down in rivers.
So they worried water would just spill off a cube.
Seems like it. Yeah. And the sloping surface for drainage. It really grounds these early ideas in everyday observations.
That's a great example. Practical concerns shaping cosmology.
And the geometric quest continues. The text mentions a collection of crystalline mineral forms, all supposedly derivable from 8 basic elemental geometric magnitudes.
From a sphere up to an octahedron.
Something like that. It's as if they were searching for a kind of fundamental geometric alphabet underlying all of nature.
Believing the structure of reality, from crystals to planets, could be understood through these forms.
That seems to be the idea, yeah.
Now, amidst all these fascinating angular and sometimes quite unusual shapes, we also find the persistent idea of Earth as a sphere.
Yes, that's always been there too. It seems this concept is as old as the angular ones, cropping up again and again.
Maybe the horizon, the sun, the moon. It has that intuitive feel.
It does. But even more curious, perhaps, the text introduces the spiral as another form linked to Earth.
A spiral? How so?
It was seen as a kind of cosmic connection, linking Earth and heaven, like a winding vine or Jacob's ladder in the Bible, allowing movement, communication between the realms.
A spiral Earth. That's a powerful dynamic image. Suggests flow.
It does. And here's a really surprising link the sources make.
Go on.
Modern scientific visualizations of radium and helium atoms apparently bear a resemblance to these ancient cosmic spiral pictographs.
Seriously, atoms looking like ancient spirals.
That's what it suggests, almost as if these fundamental forces echo these grand ancient ideas about Earth's creative energy.
That's truly remarkable, like an underlying pattern resonating across scales.
It is. The text also mentions dextral and sinistral spirals, right-handed and left-handed ones.
Which you see in nature, like shells or plants.
Exactly, found throughout nature. There's even a suggestion that Leonardo da Vinci's studies of bird flight might have played a role in these ideas.
Fascinating. Okay, let's take a sharp turn now. Flat Earth. Hollow Earth.
Right. It's easy for us now, in the 21st century, to just dismiss these ideas.
Yeah. Seems obviously wrong.
But the source reminds us that the belief in a flat disk or plain Earth, often surrounded by a mountain wall holding up the heavens, that was actually a prevailing view just 1,400 years ago.
Only 1,400 years. It's important to understand their logic then.
Absolutely. People had very real concerns, like what holds the sky up? An unsupported sky seemed terrifying.
And people walking upside down.
That seemed utterly nonsensical on a sphere. Based on their everyday experience, these were significant intellectual hurdles.
Totally understandable from that perspective. And didn't one person imagine it as a box?
Yes. The cosmologist Cosmos Indigo Pleiostis envisioned the entire visible universe inside a hollow rectangular box.
Talk about neat and tidy.
And this gets compared to the Babylonian concept of a staged Earth inside concentric spheres. Heaven round, Earth square.
A square Earth.
Apparently so. And there was this deep fear, fear of the heavens collapsing, chaos, monsters getting in if heaven and Earth weren't firmly joined.
So the models had to address that fear.
Right. Ideas like a square heaven perfectly fitting a square Earth, or both being unimaginably huge and fitting tightly together, these reflect a real anxiety about cosmic stability.
Okay, now let's move to the egg. The cosmic egg.
Ah, yes. There's a brief mention of a six-faced tetrahedron Earth, maximizing surface area for minimum volume. Very mathematical.
But the egg was more common.
Much more common. The idea of Earth as the mundane egg, the cosmic egg, appears across a huge range of cultures.
Like who?
Latins, Greeks, Persians, Egyptians. The list goes on. It's astonishingly universal.
And wasn't there a scholar who really pushed this idea?
Thomas Burnet, yes, in the 17th century. He strongly supported it, even suggesting the Earth's crust was like the shell of this cosmic egg.
The analogy is powerful, isn't it? An egg holding potential life, like the universe holding creation.
Incredibly potent. It represents origin, potential, the whole cosmos in miniature.
Speaking of origins, the sources give us two very different creation stories.
Right, one from the Sanskrit Mahabharata in Asia,
And the other.
the Walam Olam of the Lenape people from North America.
Two very different perspectives. What does the Mahabharata say?
It describes a primeval being, Manasa, creating Mahat-like cosmic consciousness, and from that came space, water, fire, wind, and finally earth.
And it's quite poetic.
Beautifully poetic. Mahat's cosmic form has mountains as bones, oceans as blood, the sky as its head.
Wow. And the Lenape story.
The great Manitou creates land, sky, moon, stars. And importantly, the very concept of movement, which was in a spiral line.
It's a spiral movement from the start. That emphasizes order.
Yes, inherent order and continuous motion. The text also mentions that more widespread idea again. Vast flat earth, solid dome of heaven.
With sea serpents at the edges.
Often, yes, fearsome creatures lurking out there. And we also get the Maydew creation story, Earthmaker, floating on water, creating land with Coyote's help.
It's striking how themes like primordial waters and a creator figure pop up everywhere.
It really speaks to fundamental human questions about origins, doesn't it?
It does. And another recurring idea is Earth as an island.
Yes, floating in a universal ocean or some kind of liquid.
Just water. Or something else.
Initially just water, but later ideas included other fluids, even a sort of crystalline congealed water, tough enough to resist the sun's heat.
A cosmic ocean. Intriguing. What supported it?
Good question. The flat, round shapes of the sun and moon probably reinforce the idea of a flat, round Earth island in this sea.
Like a leaf on water.
Exactly. That analogy is used, a leaf floating, maybe developing roots down into the depth.
And the lotus flower symbol.
Ah, yes. Very important in India, China, Egypt. The lotus represents Earth, rooted in these universal waters, drawing life from the cosmic depths.
So from a floating island, we move to Earth being physically held up by pillars? Animals.
Both. The Vedic priests, for example, pictured a hemispherical Earth resting on 12 mighty columns.
12 columns. Why 12?
They were said to rest on 12 great sacrifices, a very ritualistic, human-involved view of cosmic support.
How did they explain the sun moving then?
Various ideas swimming through the celestial waters or traveling through underground tunnels at night.
Right. And the Hindu version is famous.
Oh, yes. Hemispherical Earth on 4 huge elephants
Just who stand on a giant tortoise.
floating on the world waters.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes there's a coiled serpent beneath it all for extra stability.
It's this incredible cosmic stacking doll set.
It really is. And the animal supports get even more imaginative. The Oltaic people believed in 3 colossal fish holding up Earth.
3 fish. What happened if they moved?
Earthquakes. Especially if the middle fish shifted. They were thought to be connected to heaven by ropes, too.
Wow. And we also get Leviathan.
The Hebrew myth of the fish-shaped Leviathan, yes. And a world-supporting frog in some places where there wasn't a tortoise.
A frog. Okay.
And don't forget the mighty bull supporting Earth in Tartar and other Asian and European traditions.
So many different creatures holding up the world.
It reflects that tendency to personify or animalize the forces shaping our world. It gave a sense of explanation before we understood gravity and physics.
Now let's shift to the idea of heaven and earth being separated.
Right, a common theme, often with a cosmic human figure involved.
Who both separated and united them.
Exactly. Many cultures, like the ancient Mexicans, believed a great force pushed heaven and earth apart, but they remained connected through this human-like divine being.
Like Atlas.
Atlas is the classic example, holding up the celestial sphere. That myth persisted right into the Middle Ages.
And this figure had other names.
Oh yes, Macrocosm, the great man, Adam Kadmon. Different traditions, same core idea, humanity playing a role in maintaining cosmic order.
There were diagrams of this.
Yes, circular designs showing a human figure toiling to keep the wheel of life revolving.
The idea that the universe might collapse without us.
A potent idea. And this intermediary shows up as Manitou, Cosmic Panku, Giant Emir, often linked directly to creation.
Like the Judean zodiac mapped onto a skyman.
Exactly. Or the Tiwa Indians seeing the universe as a living universal man, Appa, with the Milky Way as his backbone.
Incredible. And the Norse giant Ymir.
Whose body was used to make the world's sky from his skull, earth from his flesh. Another powerful version of this theme.
Finding ourselves integral to the cosmos.
A deep human desire, I think.
Okay, shifting gears slightly. Early scientific mapping. Herschel.
Yes, William Herschel's attempt to map our galaxy. It's remarkable that even then, people grasped that the heavens probably had a definite shape.
They knew it wasn't just random.
Right. Herschel thought the Milky Way was a vast, measurable layer, a stratum of stars. He tried to gauge or sound its depths.
Like taking soundings at sea?
Kind of, trying to chart its 3D extent. His first guess, though, was that stars were evenly scattered.
Which isn't right.
No.
Ugh.
So his first model was kind of circular. But later, John Nichols' illustrations showed how uneven star distribution implies an irregular galaxy shape.
A crucial step towards a more accurate picture.
Absolutely. Early systematic observation, even with flawed assumptions. A real testament to scientific curiosity.
Now, very different approach. Robert Flood, Adam Cadmon again, but mystical.
Very mystical. Flood's work is rooted in esoteric philosophical traditions. He depicts Earth as the start and end of a spiral world.
A spiral world for the soul.
Exactly. In his Microcosmic Historia, the soul ascends from earthly things towards unity with God through 22 stages.
Linked to Hebrew letters and symbols.
Yes, linked to letters, grades of procession numbers, winged heads. Very intricate symbolism.
So the spiral here is like Jacob's ladder again, connecting heaven and earth.
Precisely. Both separating and uniting, often seen as an ascending vine or a world tree. It's a metaphor for spiritual growth, transformation.
A beautiful counterpoint to the purely geometric or physical models.
It really highlights the diversity of ways humans have tried to understand not just Earth's form, but our spiritual place within it.
Let's touch on some other models mentioned. Burnett's Primeval Earth.
Ah yes, Thomas Burnett again. He had this idea of the original Earth being perfectly smooth, maybe egg-shaped, with different river courses than today.
How so?
Originating inland and branching out towards the sea like arteries. He called them countercourse rivers. Very organic image.
And creation stories often talk about harmony before humans.
Yes, a common theme. The Lenape legend mentioned even movement after creation. Sebastian Munster depicted a primeval Earth in perfect harmony.
But not all creation stories are harmonious, right? The Babylonian one.
Right, the Enuma Elish, that involves combat. Tiamat, the primordial abyss, is this monstrous being.
And Marduk fights her.
Yes, Marduk battles and slays Tiamat. Then he uses her body to create the cosmos heaven from her skin, earth from her body.
Gruesome but creative.
And then he sacrifices himself, or part of himself, to create humanity, giving us a spark of divine understanding.
This idea of heavens made from skins appears elsewhere, too.
It does, among other groups like the Yakuts and Myriads. A recurring motif.
Okay, what about a hollow hemispherical Earth? Chaldean idea.
Yes, the Akkadian Chaldean concept seems to have been a hollow, boat-shaped or hemispherical Earth. Myers reconstructed their world model.
What did that look like?
A convex Earth shell, upper and lower firmaments, zones for spirit and planets, the zodiac as a celestial ocean Tiamat again, and then a concave inner Earth with 7 underworld zones.
Wow, complex, with a world mountain holding it up.
Yes, supporting the firmament, though there's debate if that reconstruction is entirely accurate.
Warren had an alternative Babylonian model.
He did, based on texts. A central, four-cornered Earth in 2 parts, upper for life, lower for death, like staged pyramids.
Pyramids, surrounded by heavens.
Surrounded by 7 heavens of the planets. Then an 8th for fixed stars, with the god Anu at the North Pole. Very structured.
With separating waters and gods mirroring each other.
Exactly. Waters between upper and lower Earth, antipodal relationships between the living and dead, gods Anu and Yah, and the spaces between spheres widening outwards, likely pre-Babylonian in origin.
Let's jump to Egypt. The sky goddess Nut.
Ah, the classic image on sarcophagi. Nut arching over the earth god Seb. Very visual.
And Egyptians tracked major catastrophes.
Yes, traditionally, the separation of earth and heaven, the earth-moon separation, the Great Deluge, the sinking of Atlantis, these were key events in their cosmic history.
Nut gave birth to the sun daily.
Yes, and the moon from her breasts and the stars. Originally, heaven and earth were together, then Shu air or sunlight pushed them apart.
Okay, medieval thought. The Wheel of Fortune.
A powerful symbol representing the changing nature of earthly life compared to the permanence of the celestial spheres.
How is it depicted?
Often with earth at the bottom, the Empyrean heaven at the top, and Lady Fortune turning the wheel, raising some, casting others down.
Tied into the Ptolemaic system.
Deeply. The geocentric model, earth at the center, celestial spheres rotating around it. The Greeks refined this system.
With planets in specific orders and those complex epicycles?
Exactly. Epicycles and deference were needed to explain why planets sometimes seem to slow down or go backward. It heavily influenced thinkers like Dante.
Dante's Divine Comedy. His journey reflects this cosmology.
Perfectly. His journey through hell, within the Earth, ruled by the moon's influence in some interpretations, then up Mount Purgatory.
An island formed when Lucifer fell.
Yes, in the opposite hemisphere. Then through the celestial spheres, Moon, Mercury, Venus, Sun, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, fixed stars, Prima Mobile, finally reaching the Empyrean, the mind of God.
And he looks back in Earth.
Yes, from the heaven of stars, he sees Earth as this small, almost insignificant point at the center of the vast cosmos.
Earth as a cosmic heart. Where does that idea come from?
Ancient Aryan belief linked the human heart to the universe's life-sustaining spiral. Egyptians saw the cosmic heart as the mind,
And the Chinese?
saw Buddha as the heart of the universe, pervading everything. John Portage, a mystic, had this idea of the archetypous globe as the cosmic heart, the dilation of God's eye.
Hildegard of Bingen also had a unique cosmic vision.
She did. Earth at the center, but in a state of mistio, a chaotic mixture after the fall.
Surrounded by different zones.
Yes, an atmosphere, then tenuous air, clouds, then fortis air, fixed stars, outer zones of winds linked to elements, and a fiery core within Earth, mirrored by an outer lucidus ignis. Connected celestial and earthly waters, too.
Swedenborg had correspondences. And multiple Earths.
Yes, his cosmology was based on the grand man containing the universe, direct correspondences between man, Earth, and heaven.
And the multiple Earths were planets.
He believed the planets Mercury, Jupiter, Mars, Saturn, Venus, our moon, plus 5 unseen Earths in the starry heavens were all inhabited.
Why? Why multiple inhabited worlds?
He thought heaven resembled one giant human, and spirits from various Earths were needed to maintain its proportion and consistency. Different spirits related to different parts, Mercury to memory, Jupiter to imagination, Earth to external senses.
Complex movements, wheels upon wheels.
Yes, ancient attempts to explain planetary motions. Wang Chung used a millstone analogy. Astronomers used epicycles, eccentrics.
All those circles within circles in the Ptolemaic system.
Exactly. A highly elaborate wheel-based model to make observation fit theory.
Robert Flood, again, a 3-octaved universe.
Yes, he depicted 2 octaves, heaven and earth, and 1 octave, Godhead and man, creating a 3-octave universe of interconnected scales and correspondences.
Linked by sound and vibration.
Yes, sound is the language of mind. Vibration is the secret of creation. Deeply mystical.
Okay, finally, let's circle back to hollow Earth theories, but more modern ones. Sims.
John Kling Sims, 1818. He declared Earth was hollow, habitable inside with polar openings, and even contained concentric spheres within it.
And he wanted to go find it.
He proposed an expedition to the North Pole to find a warm, rich interior. James McBride wrote a book about his theory.
It's funny how this idea echoes in some Native American traditions.
It is a curious recurrence. Then William Reed, in 1906, argued for a hollow Earth in Phantom of the Poles.
Then Gardner.
Marshall B. Gardner, 1913. His theory had a hollow Earth with an interior sun and larger polar openings. He thought it was a treasure house of past species and civilizations.
He wanted to explore, too.
Yes, proposed an expedition to enter the interior. These ideas, while scientifically dismissed, show a persistent fascination with what might lie beneath our feet.
And the very last one mentioned the tetrahedral Earth.
Yes, presented as the latest and most distinct figure in one source, a tetrahedron or 3-sided pyramid, another geometric attempt.
Wow. What a journey through shapes and ideas.
It really is.
As you can see, the story of how humanity has envisioned our planet is just this rich, varied tapestry. It's woven with observation, sure, but also mythology, philosophy, and a truly persistent sense of wonder.
From flat disks to intricate spheres, cosmic eggs, hollow shells, spirals.
Each model reflects a unique way of trying to understand our place in the grand scheme of things. The sheer variety, the ingenuity, it's quite something.
It really is. It's a powerful reminder of our enduring curiosity, that human drive to comprehend the universe we inhabit.
We hope this deep dive has sparked some thoughts for you, too, about this ever-evolving picture of Earth. Thank you for your support and for listening.